Yet another book has come out in regard to the 2024 presidential race and former President Barack Obama's role within it, especially on the Democratic side. Now, according to Fight, inside the wildest battle for the White House, Obama really did not want Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee after former President Joe Biden dropped out. Take a look.
He didn't think that she could win. And we spoke to people very close to him who say this, and there were major concerns. So I think they were doing a quiet sort of lobbying effort to see, what the mood was and whether there was enough support for it. Certainly, I think Barack Obama was hearing from some donors. I know Nancy Pelosi was too, that Kamala Harris couldn't win. They kept doing this up until the final minutes of, right after Joe Biden endorsed Kamala Harris. I think they were still calling around. It's why I think Barack Obama kept his powder dry for several days. He wanted to see how all of this would play out, but he had major concerns.
What were the concerns? What were the nature of the concerns?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that she just wouldn't be able to win. I think that they all saw her as a weaker vice president. I don't think that they felt like Joe Biden had really championed her enough, that she was coming in kind of ill prepared to run as president. Certainly they look back at her last campaign, I'm sure.
I mean, look, Obama was right. I mean, Obama wasn't wrong, he was right. And look, the whole thing was a mess because you have the disastrous Joe Biden debate. He waits a month before he finally drops out and robs Democratic voters from an opportunity of taking part in some sort of primary to pick a better candidate. And I'm sorry, it's now over. So let me just be very clear. She was a very bad candidate. She wasn't funny, she wasn't interesting. I didn't buy into brat summer, whatever the F people were trying to sell us. Li Fong, a wonderful journalist, just recently published an investigative report he did for Real Clear Investigations. And in it, he found that the entire, all the hype around Kamala was bought and paid for by Democratic billionaires. Okay, all of these public figures and influencers, they didn't give a damn about Kamala Harris. Who knows if they actually voted for her or even support her, but they were paid to go out there and pretend like she was awesome, like she's the best candidate. They tried to manufacture, support for Kamala Harris. Yeah. And honestly, anyone paying attention and anyone who knows how politics works in America could see through it. I was able to see through it. But here's the other thing. You weren't even able to tell the truth. You weren't even able to do accurate analysis of Kamala Harris and how she was running this campaign. Because if you did, you're helping Trump win. You need to shut the F up. Yeah. And just pretend like she's a great, fabulous candidate who's definitely gonna win, even though the aggregate of polls consistently showed her trailing Donald Trump.
Yeah, so there's another group to watch out for here, and that's those so-called influencers in MSNBC. They're actually in the same bucket.
Yes.
Because look, guys, we'll get back to Obama and Biden because Obama didn't want Biden to run either, and I thought that was obvious for reasons I'll explain. But for Harris, it was exceedingly obvious because Biden drops out. And at that point in the beginning, all of them, Biden, Obama, and Pelosi, and Schumer, none of them endorsed Kamala Harris. Normally the establishment anoints, as they did with Biden in 2020. You remember Obama called everyone, got everybody, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, et cetera, to drop out of the race in South Carolina so that Biden could get all the votes so that Bernie didn't win, right? And so they all did exactly what Obama told them to do, and he coordinated that. And that worked to make sure that Bernie lost so that we couldn't have a populist option so Donald Trump could win. Anyways, okay, that's a different gripe. So now when Biden drops out, no one endorses Harris. That's obvious that they are not anointing. Super obvious, because we've seen them anoint in 2020. We've seen them anoint Hillary Clinton in 2016, and they're a machine. They all get on board. They all say that unity, unity, unity. Anyone who doesn't listen is a heretic and should be driven from the party, et cetera. In this case, the fact that, so Biden then screws them over. Half an hour later, he puts out a statement going, oh yeah, I think it should be Kamala. Biden didn't want Kamala at all. Biden thought Kamala was a disastrous candidate. he did that to screw over the Democrats like Obama and Pelosi who would push them out because he's such an egomaniac.
Yeah.
He's a nasty, mean, terrible narcissist, right? But the plan was none of us are gonna endorse her because we should have an open convention because she's a disaster.
Right.
Obama and Pelosi stick with that plan for an excruciating 5 days because everybody's going, why isn't Obama endorsing her?
Yeah.
Why isn't Pelosi endorsing her? Meanwhile, everyone is endorsing. Within 2 days, because of Biden, she rounded up all the delegates. And even after she got all the delegates, Obama and Pelosi hesitated before endorsing her, right?
That's crazy, yeah.
But when you point that out, what happens is, and this happened to us, and me in particular, all of the influencers online that are literally paid to kiss Democratic leadership ass, right? But to be fair to them, they genuinely believe it. I mean, they think that the path to victory is kiss ass harder, right? And that they'll yell at anyone not kissing ass. And they're like, how dare you, you're helping Trump. Their number one their thing is, you know how Democrats are like, there's nothing we could do, their song is, you're helping Trump, you're helping Trump, you're helping Trump, no matter what you say.
Yeah, you're
like,
a secret right-winger, you're helping Trump, you're voting for Trump. No, right. I can see the Democrats for what they are. What they're doing.
And it doesn't matter from day one, the minute Biden gets into office, if you criticize Biden at all or any Democratic leader, you're helping Trump, you're helping Trump, you're helping Trump. So that's their propaganda. They don't even know it, they're so in their own bubble. And MSNBC, same thing. So when we were saying, well, look, Obama's not endorsing. Obama's not endorsing. Look, your beloved Obama, not my beloved, your beloved Obama, your beloved Pelosi doesn't want it to be Kamala Harris. They're like, you're lying, that's crazy, there's no way, Obama loves Kamala Harris, you're trying to help Trump. How did that help? How did that help? What did you do, you knuckleheads? You actually foiled your beloved Obama's plan, which was to do an open primary. And your beloved Pelosi, you ruined her plan. Why? Why did Obama, Biden, and Pelosi and Schumer not want Kamala Harris? Because they've been dealing with her all this time. They know she wasn't gonna win. They know she's not up to the job. But you wouldn't, but now turn around and criticize those leaders. So your profile encouraged Barack Obama was to whisper behind the scenes.
Yeah, totally.
Whisper, whisper,
Get a
whisper.
load of this, get a load of this, okay? According to the authors of that book, Fight, Amy Parnas and Jonathan Allen, Obama never thought Harris could beat Trump, but backed her when he saw he was under threat himself, suddenly in a position where his actions against Biden and Harris could diminish him in the eyes of Democratic elites.
Oh no, please. No diminishing for the grand legacy of benighted Barack Obama. I mean, terrible. My God, what if his feelings were slightly hurt up in Martha's Vineyard? Okay, so look, here's what a real leader would have done. Okay, would have made his issues with Biden public a year earlier, right? So they would have had plenty of time. Instead, what did he do? He sent David Axelrod to go speak out against Obama.
Oh my God.
Against Biden over and over.
So true.
And so,
yes.
Anna, what I kept saying, I'm like, Carville and Axelrod are the two guys trying to push Biden out on the airwaves. Who does Carville represent? Bill and Hillary Clinton. He's their top strategist, their top go-to guy. Who does David Axelrod represent? He's Barack Obama's top go-to guy and strategist.
Yes.
The Clintons and the Obamas are telling you to push Biden out. And every time I said, they're like, oh, that's not crazy. Speculation, there's no way. Axelrod, I bet he never talks to Obama. I bet Carville never talks to the Clintons. Come on, guys. Come on. All that denying of reality. And what did it get you? It got you a loss to Trump. But I swear to this day, I guarantee you, if one of those influencers or one of those hosts on MSNBC is watching this, they're like, no, if these meddling kids just hadn't criticized Biden or criticized Kamala, we would have won. It was your fault. You should have had no accountability. You should have just lied like the rest of us. No, Kamala doesn't do word salads. Biden is young and dynamic. You guys thought you could trick the whole country into believing this nonsense that you believed. Well, it didn't work. So are you ever gonna learn any lessons? Obama, you're worried about what will the Democratic elites think of me? So Anna interrupted when I said, what would a real leader do? He would have come out and said, okay, a year earlier against Biden, and he would have said as soon as Biden dropped out, I think there should be an open convention. Okay, if Obama had said that, you know what we would have had? An open convention.
I agree, and look, let's not forget the race dynamics that play a role in all of this, right? Because when there were some conversations happening prior to Biden dropping out, there was a lot of fear that if Kamala Harris wasn't his automatic replacement, well, Black women wouldn't vote for whoever the Democratic nominee is. They'd feel slighted by the Democratic Party. But having someone like Obama come out immediately and call for an open convention, that would be different. I think that would maybe mitigate.
No, that would have changed the whole dynamic because they've spent their whole lives worshiping Obama and Pelosi.
That's exactly right, yes.
If Obama and Pelosi, a woman and an African American, the two leaders of the Democratic Party came out and said, guys, we think we should have an open convention. We love Kamala Harris. We think she might be able to win the open convention. We have a lot of faith in her, but we need to pick the best possible candidate and we need to hear from the Democratic voters.
Yeah.
The voice of the voters is the most important thing. Let's go to a convention and sort this thing out, and we're rooting for Kamala, right? What would have happened is we would have had an open convention because the DAC community, the Democratic ass-kissing community, okay, they will do anything a Democratic leader tells them. And Obama and Pelosi have more credibility than Biden, who had just dropped out. If they had told him open convention, all of DAC would have turned around on a dime and would have said open convention, right? And hey, if you're in DAC, remember, what would an open convention have done? Why did I and Obama and Pelosi agree? Because we wanted to pick the best candidate so that we could beat Trump.
You could run and tell DAC.
Okay, and so it wasn't because Obama wanted to hurt the Democrats. It wasn't because Pelosi wanted to hurt the Democrats and wanted Trump to win. It's because they wanted to pick the best candidate. But the difference between me and, if we're being honest, Obama and Pelosi here, is that they didn't have the courage to say it publicly.
Yeah, it's true.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.